Spend less energy if you're the governor of New York having a cat fight with the mayor of New York City. I'm so fucking over. I don't even live there anymore. And I am so over the de Blasio Cuomo slap fight. Boys, grow the up.
No one's going to be president. Stop dreaming that big dream.
Neither of you are going to be president.
No.
I will work to make sure neither of you become president. And I'm in your party. Hello and welcome to Hysteria. I'm Erin Ryan.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
Alyssa, Ted Cruz was in the news over the past week for being an idiot, trying to go on a vacation to Cancun as people in his state, people who elected him, people who were ostensibly paying his salary, freezed and had to boil their water in order to be able to drink it. So my question for you this week is, what vacation destination would you risk it all for?
Well, I would risk it, I think I would want to go to Kauai Cliffs, New Zealand, which was where we were supposed to go on our honeymoon, but my cat Shrummy got sick, and when you marry the best person ever, they say, we can't leave the sick cat. We have to stay behind. And also now, Jacinda Ardern, who wouldn't want to go to New Zealand?
I know. I just want to be close to her. I just want to be close to Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern.
You even kind of look like her.
Oh, that's so nice. We have the same
so
birthday.
Lucky.
We have the same birthday. I think she's a couple years older than me, but we have the same exact birthday.
Fuck.
Yeah, cool, right? It's a good birthday twin.
That is a good birthday twin.
So my place that I would get caught going to while my state suffered, I would be like, okay, you know what? My career, my reputation, almost worth it. There is a preserve in Rwanda for the lowland gorillas that Dian Fossey used to work out of. And it's currently got, all these lowland gorillas that live there, and they only allow a limited number of people to visit every year. Like, I'll never be able to afford to go there. But if I could, I would risk a lot of people getting mad at me in order to go and see the lowland gorillas in an environmentally responsible way.
So
there's
wait,
videos.
What you're saying is you wouldn't take Coach to Cancun to risk your career.
No, Coach to Cancun. Like, come on. That is not only that's not only an asshole thing. It's a tacky asshole thing.
Do you think he was going to go to Senior Frogs though?
He was going to drink an entire glass boot of something. And he was going to make an annoying joke to the waitress or the server about how he was from Texas and they all wear boots there. And the server would have pretended to laugh because I bet that's what servers have been doing at Ted Cruz for his entire life. He's getting the ha 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 courtesy laugh from servers. I'm glad we ruined his vacation. That's all I have to say about that.
He didn't really deserve a vacation anyway, so I'm glad it was ruined.
Not. Nobody who's that shitty at their job deserves to take a vacation.
Agree.
Let's just do a couple toasts and roasts.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Texas, I think we have a toast to
We
offer
do.
in addition to the roast of Ted Cruz. And that is to AOC and Beto O'Rourke and others who have contributed to raising millions. I think it was $5 million.
$5 million. They made 784,000 calls to seniors to check in on them.
Yeah, they're actually doing work that Ted Cruz did not do. Texas had a historically large power outage that anybody who had anything to do with the grid could have seen coming. And now the people who are supposed to just live in Texas and not have to worry about their power have to worry about all these things. It was a real fuck up of unfettered capitalism. And it's really good to see people like O'Rourke and AOC coming in there to help try to bridge the gap between what the government was supposed to do and what the government actually did. So that's a good toast. Alyssa, do you want to toast our favorite Biden nominee?
Deb Haaland, soon to be Secretary of the Interior, knock wood, barring anything crazy. I mean, Erin, she came out for her confirmation hearing just fucking ready to go. She was calm. She was smooth. Every time the Republicans tried to fuck with her, she was just unflappable. She spoke in a voice that one of my friends and I called Xanny voice. It's like as if you've taken a Xanax because nothing is going to get your blood pressure up. And she just knew she was so impressive and great. And we are so excited for her.
And it's super exciting also for members of the indigenous community, because she will become the first Native American Interior Secretary. The Department of the Interior also contains the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and it is absurd that they never once had a Native American in charge of the Bureau of Indian Affairs in the history of the U.S. So Deb Haaland, one of New Mexico's finest. We love New Mexico here.
Because it's one of the finest states.
One of America's best states. She's going to be such a great head of that department, and, you know, both symbolically and just as an individual who just knows her shit. So I'm so excited. I have a sweatshirt with Deb Haaland's face on the front of it.
What?
Yeah. I'll show it to you. I'll send you a picture after we are done recording.
Okay, that's very good.
It's when I wear it around my neighborhood, which is, I gotta say, it's a blue neighborhood within a blue city. I get some thumbs ups for my Deb Haaland sweatshirt.
That's amazing.
Yeah, love Deb Haaland around here. Let's do a quick roast. We roast people that were at one point the subjects of toasts, because it's very important to have an adult relationship with the government that you have hired to govern you, which means that sometimes they're going to do things that make you happy, and sometimes they're going to do things that make you mad. Alyssa, you're closer to this one than I am, so why don't I'll let you take the reins.
Governor Andrew Cuomo, we must roast you. Anyone who's sort of seen bits and pieces of this in the news, he and his administration have had an issue with the reporting of deaths of people who were in nursing homes, and we're not counting people who left nursing homes to be hospitalized and then passed in a hospital. Now, there's a lot going back and forth, and look, he said, and his staff says, that the reason they underreported that number back in August or September was because the Trump administration was trying to be punitive. They wanted to investigate them. They wanted to take resources away from New York State. Here's the thing. I get all that. I actually don't have a huge problem with that. But then he threatened, bullied, verbally attacked members of the New York Assembly and told them to get out and put positive statements. And if they didn't, he was going to destroy them. And here's what we've learned, Erin. I just think, as a rule, don't say things like, I will destroy you, to people. It never ends well. People don't abide or appreciate that sort of philosophy. So just look, people have always thought of Cuomo as a bully. His handling of the COVID crisis sort of redeemed him in certain ways in people's eyes. And then just to hear this, you're like, nope, he was always the same.
Yeah, I will destroy you is a bad thing to say if you're a public-facing person.
Yeah, just don't.
I believe that I will destroy you has just often ends up destroying you, the one who said it, if anybody ever finds out about it. I want to add, the nursing home statistical, cloak and daggering that Cuomo did is pretty gross.
Right.
I also want to add that he really has done basically jack shit to help the restaurant and the food service industry in New York. My friend Haley, my best friend who I grew up with from when we were kids, works in food service in New York, and she's been trying to, they've been trying, people who work in the industry have been trying to raise their plight to his attention, and he just seems extremely indifferent to it. And I just think, I hope that he has some sort of political accountability for this, because some of the stuff he did made him look like he was doing good shit. Right. And ultimately it seems like a lot of it was window dressing. And that is not what people need. People need actual governance instead of just a guy who gets on TV and plays a governor every day.
And also, everybody knows that when you are facing a crisis, get out in front of it. If you're threatening people, guess what? It's coming out. And so instead, imagine if they had said shortly after Election Day, this is what we did. Here's why we did it. You don't agree with us. We understand. We had to make a judgment call. Here are the real numbers, and, get on with it. Mm-hmm. Trying to bury it never works, and actually makes you seem like you didn't just hide it because of Trump. It makes it look like you're just fucking trying to hide it. And so do better.
Yeah, do better and spend less energy if you're the governor of New York having a cat fight with the mayor of New York City. I'm so fucking over. I don't even live there anymore, and I am so over the De Blasio Cuomo slap fight. Boys, grow the fuck up.
No one's going to be president. Stop dreaming that big dream.
Neither of you are going to be president.
No.
I will work to make sure neither of you become president, and I'm in your party. Fucking govern. Gosh. Okay. I'm sure we'll be talking more about all of the people that we toasted and roasted this week. Joining us this week on I Feel Petty is Julissa Arce and Rheeqrheeq Chainey. All right, who feels pettiest this week? Who wants to go first? Rheeqrheeq, you said you had a serious one.
I feel pretty petty about the fact that folk aren't going out of their way to post about issues on social media until they're already pre-made like meme infographics. So, like, the rise of, like, attacks on, like, Asian American communities has gone obscene in the last year. It's been a couple stories, and it really did feel for a moment like unless you had folk of the community in your life, you weren't really hearing about it until about 2 or 3 weeks ago when there was a big push on Twitter. Like, look at these local articles, but unless you're on Asian American Twitter, you're not really seeing it. So that, like, there was a couple days where you started seeing people posting articles and like, please look at this, please these GoFundMes, please find out who this fucking guy in Queens is who pushed someone's mom down and she busted her head open. Like, let's help out. But then it was like a 3-day period until then the pretty like salmon colored ones with a border were up, and like the ones that had more, you know, like someone did a digital graphic or something, and it blew up. And part of that is maybe that more people were seeing it, but I also think part of it is that some people just didn't fit their brands for their like posting to do it, to just take a screenshot of like a Chronicle piece. And that's and it just feeds into like my bigger not anger, but feelings around like what was happening this summer and what's happened since, of like, unless an issue or unless a moment of outrage is like bottled up in a way that like really works on a story or really works on a repost, it feels like it's still just the folk who are being affected by it talking about it. And it takes longer to jump over into the discourse. I think it's, y'all, your Instagram ain't your real life. Look like you give a fuck about something. But in this specific case, I was watching and I was late on the uptick of realizing like how bad it had been, because it wasn't until my Asian friends were telling me about it that I realized like I'm missing this because it's just not getting to my sphere. And I felt bad about it. But then like in sitting in that for 2 weeks, I was like, oh, this is the cycle of it. And how did we get folk to feel like it's their job to not just like raise awareness, but actually like speak on it, think on it, like look at how you interact with it, if it's not bottled or like marketed in a way that like feels not too dark to have on their brand. I
mean, I think on another level, this is like that you're right. It is an annoying behavior for people to just wait for it to fit their aesthetic before they take a stand on something. I think it's also like another symptom of like the death of local news. The fact that these things aren't being funneled and covered in depth at the local level and then grabbed and elevated to the national level. I mean, a lot of it's happening in major cities, so that's why we even know about what we know about it. But It seems like it must be happening in places outside of San Francisco and Queens. Yeah. You know, and we're just maybe not hearing about it because local news is dying or being bought up by private equity, and all we can do now is post about it.
Yeah. I think part of it is it sometimes can feel so impotent because like what else can you do? And so why wouldn't you just be like, okay, it doesn't look like everything else you're posting with your matcha and all the other stuff. I don't know. I want people to say things with their chest, and there's something about waiting for it to be formatted that like is frustrating to me.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That's like, it is a serious one, but I can also see the pettiness therein.
Thank you. Oh, she's complaining on the podcast she's on about Insta stories. Okay.
Alyssa, do you want to go now?
Mine is stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. So like Newsmax and OANN and all of these things, they have like nothing left to talk about. So they were attacking Joe Biden's dogs.
Did you see the dog? I want to show you something I noticed. Doesn't he look a little rough? This dog looks like from the junkyard. And I love that dog, but he looks like he's not been well cared for.
Why would you do that? Why would you say they're dirty? It's so wrong. It's so mean. They are rescue dogs. They gave these animals a home. They're wonderful. And like, could you imagine just being the person that had to read that copy that was just like, and today we see these filthy dogs in the White House. Anyway, it's been on my mind for many days, and I just really couldn't.
Is that
that's
like
all
an
they have to talk
electoral
about.
strategy? I mean, but like coming out against dogs is not really a winning strategy when it comes to popular opinion.
Literally. And like, I think the same day that, part of that plane going from Denver to Hawaii, like part of it fell into someone's yard. It's like, cover that, you assholes. Like, do something else.
I'm very mad I found that out like 2 days later. Like, I feel like United flights just dropping bits wasn't big. No, we need to prioritize what gets to the people.
Exactly.
Anti-dog stance, questionable, for sure. I will go next because mine's really stupid. And I think it really echoes a lot of what old people are saying. What the fuck is Clubhouse? What is it? I can't use it. I don't like it. It's podcasts, but worse.
It's the radio. Alyssa,
Yes.
you joined. When you joined, I got a notification, and then it goes, "Do you want to welcome Alyssa?" Then it sent me into a live room where I didn't realize I was waiting for you to join. And I was like, "Oh no, she has shit to do," and so then I had to like jump out of it.
It was so scary. I was like, someone invited me. It was like very nice of them, and I got on there. Literal social anxiety from just being alone in my room. It's too much. It makes no sense. The question is why? Don't you feel like it's a little bit like people are like just trying to be popular? I mean, I know it's the point of all social media, but it's like, join me in my Clubhouse. It's like, no, it's where bad things happen.
It's like live podcasting.
Yeah.
It's
It's
what
like
it
a
is.
live show
Without the quality check.
But you can't save the conversations, right? Like you can only listen to them live. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did my first Clubhouse this weekend. And we were actually talking about hate crimes against Asian Americans. So it was like, I thought it was like a very good one. But I was so nervous. Like I was like sweating. I was so nervous because I didn't know when to like stop talking. I didn't know how long I should talk. There's no way people were tweeting at me because they couldn't actually message me through Clubhouse, like we were doing an Instagram live or something. It was very nerve-wracking, and I don't know if I will ever have my own Clubhouse conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to be a part. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be a part of this. But I do remember a couple weeks ago when I only heard about it from Black Twitter, and they were having Dreamgirls like sing-offs in front of people who had been in Dreamgirls. So like Cheryl Lee Ralph was in there being like, "Baby, no." Like, so I saw something, apparently some girl sang one note and they were like, "You can stop." And I was like, "Ha, this is hilarious." But I don't know who needs this. So other than me,
apparently a lot of people do. It's like the hot new thing.
It's
Yeah, I don't get it.
Once they open it up to everybody, it's not going to be the hot.
No, I mean,
No.
we're talking on some beta shit right now.
Back in the before times, I could barely stand to sit close enough to people at a like cafe or whatever. If they were having a boring conversation and I could overhear it, I would be like, "Get me the fuck out of here." I love eavesdropping on an interesting conversation. I love eavesdropping on a fight. Cannot get enough fighting in public. Love it. But if I'm sitting next to some people talking like dumb shit, I'm like, I don't want to hear this. This is not the social media app for me. Okay, Julissa, do you want to bring us home?
Yes, and I misunderstood the assignment.
Love that energy. Own it.
So mine is actually serious, but it is also petty, I think. Okay, so this is what I'm feeling very petty about celebrities, about Instagram famous people, about the media, about pretty much everyone. I'm feeling petty about everyone who is not outraged about the new migrant children facility that is going up in Florida, because kids in cages are kids in cages, whether it was under Trump or whether it was under Obama or whether it is now under Biden and Harris. And I find it very disingenuous that people are trying to find the right angle of how to be outraged about this, how to say the right thing about it, how to not anger people that they know in the administration. As far as my angle is that no kids should be in cages ever, ever. And for people that are out there being like, we need to be patient, I'm sorry, but if it was your kid in one of those tents, you would not want to be patient about it. You would want that kid to be out of that tent yesterday. And so if you were outraged and raising hell when kids were in cages during the Trump administration, if you were concerned last week about the migrants in detention centers in Texas because it was freezing, then you need to be outraged and you need to be concerned about what is happening right now today under a Democratic Biden-Harris administration, because this is not the shit we elected you for.
Yeah.
So fix that shit. And for people that are like, this is going to take time, fucking figure it out. We need to get rid of those facilities. What the right answer is, I don't know what that right answer is or what that process is, because I am not in government, but they need to figure this shit out.
And Julissa,
Thank you.
That was a perfect I Feel Petty. Is there a resource or like organization that's doing on the ground work advocating for these to be closed if people want to keep up to tabs?
Yes. So Families Belong Together is one organization they have a petition and they're mobilizing. There's, of course, Raíces, Texas, who I think a lot of people are familiar with, and they are providing legal services. And these are unaccompanied minors. So I do want to make it clear, like, what's happening. This isn't babies being ripped apart from their families and then being put in separate cages, right? These are unaccompanied minors. So minors that came to the U.S. without a parent, without a guardian. That's who is being put in jails, who is being put in this cages. They're ages 13 through 17. But those two organizations are, one, doing advocacy work to stop to have this detention center closed, and Raíces Texas is doing legal work to try to get those kids out and into sponsored homes. So I would follow those two organizations and call your congressperson, just like we were calling congresspeople before. Like, you can call your congressperson, and we need to put pressure on the administration just like we put pressure on them before.
We'll put those links in show notes. We'll also put links to information on the attacks against older Asian Americans. We're not going to link to stuff about Clubhouse because I don't think anybody should join. And I think we all know enough about the Biden's dogs to make a judgment that they're not dirty.